Happy Sunday, friends! Welcome back to Sunday Night Storytime. Here at Greater Las Vegas Academy, we are in the middle of Kindness Month. And we've been teaching the kids how important it is to give back and be kind to others. One of my favorite ways to teach kids about this is with this book. This is called How Full Is Your Bucket for kids. To the grown-ups out there, there's also a really great grown-up version of this book. But this is written by Tom Rath and Mary Reckmeyer. Felix was putting one of the last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. "I want to build with you," she said. Felix scowled. "Go away. You're too little." "I'm big," she said. "Stay back, you'll knock it over," Felix said. "I can be very careful," she said. "Go play with your baby toys, Anna." She doesn't look very happy here at all. And look at what she did. She knocked all of the blocks over. She got very angry. "Grandpa!" they both yelled. Grandpa shook his head. "Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket." Like everybody else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad. But when it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket? Have you ever noticed your bucket? Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell when his grandfather was joking. But the next morning, when Felix woke up, there it was. A small gray bucket was floating above his head. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. "I've got a meeting this morning. It's almost time to go. Anna, sit still." She's trying to do her hair. Looks like everything's kind of in a rush in their household, huh? And what's Felix doing? Oh, he's trying to get the cereal out by himself. Felix slipped, and choco wheat scattered across the floor. "Felix!" yelled his mom. "You should have used the stool to reach that." Felix could feel his bucket tip, and big invisible drips spilled out. Drip, drip. "Ha ha!" Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal with her shoe. Drip. "Get the broom and clean that up before you miss the bus," scolded Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the choco wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster the dog jumped up and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. And then he got on the bus, and another kid says, "Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it." Drip. And then in the hallway, he heard some kids talking about him. "Psst, Felix, psst." Drip. And then another big kid, he knocked him aside and said, "Watch out, shrimp." Drip. It was still morning, and Felix's bucket, it felt almost empty. And remember, when your bucket is empty, it makes you feel sad. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped that they would trip and fall. Because when you feel sad, sometimes you feel angry too, right? That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. Felix slumped down into his seat and he just waited for the next bad thing to happen. Mrs. Bumbernickel walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look at his grade. And she said, "Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class?" Felix grinned, and he felt a big drop land right in his bucket. Drop. And as he's telling his story to the class, he's saying, "The Giganotosaurus Who Wanted a Pet by me, Felix." And drop, plop, plink, drop. His bucket's getting more and more full. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right places and they oohed at all the scary parts. When Felix finally read the end, everybody clapped. Even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs. Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be so bad after all. And look, he found a note from his mom that says, "Love you." Drop. And in PE, the teacher said, "Team captains today are Veronica and Felix." Drop. And in art class, the teacher said, "Nice cow." And Felix said, "It's a dog." And the teacher said, "Well, nice colors, Felix." And then over here, somebody said, "Hey, cool laser ant backpack, Felix." He's getting lots of drops in his bucket now. By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly realized that his grandpa was right. Everyone else had a bucket too. See, some people have full buckets, but other people, their buckets aren't so full. And he saw a teacher that dropped a lot of papers, and he said, "Let me help you." Drop, drop. And somebody lost their ball, and he said, "Hey, here's your baseball, catch." And his friend said, "Thanks, dude." Drop, drop. And then a kid was sitting by himself on the bench. And Felix went over and said, "Hi, I'm Felix. Is it your first day?" And the kid said, "Yes, I'm Amir." Drop, drop. The strange thing was that for every drop that he helped put in somebody else's bucket, Felix felt another drop in his own bucket. When Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket and I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. But then he thought, dogs might have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix her." Well, she's really upset and her bucket is really empty. "Until then, do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks?" And so they did. So by doing nice things for other people, it not only fills up their bucket, but it filled up Felix's bucket too. And we have to remember that, my friends, we all have buckets on top of our head. And the best thing you can do is go throughout the day trying to fill as many buckets as you possibly can. I hope you all have a wonderful night. And go ahead, write in the comments. I would love to hear things that you did to fill somebody else's bucket.